The Offering is a breathtaking act of emotional alchemy where immaculate musicianship, haunting vocal artistry, and profoundly evocative lyricism just converge to create an experience that lingers in the soul long after the final note has faded into silence. And a massive thank you for the immense generosity for those folks displayed on screen who get to enjoy bonus perks and benefits as YouTube channel members and patrons. Okay, Sleep Token, The Offering. Here we go. Kind of eerie. Oh. Okay. Saw it coming. Love it. I would definitely classify Sleep Token as more progressive metal, progressive rock. That type of art. Okay, hardcore intro, and now we chill.
You are a garden, entwined with all. You are the silent
Vessels singing.
on sacred shores. You've got diamonds for teeth, my love. So take a bite of me. Just once, I want to take the pain once again. Take a bite.
That is so interesting. Bloody hell, the drummer. Jeez. Okay. Firstly, I am astonished by Vessel's vocal agility. It is unbelievable. He's got some serious range. And the drummer, again, I've always said this, if you're a drummer, you have to be a certain kind of mad. And that lad has got madness in bucket loads. Okay, so anyway, the lyrics, let's take a look. Right, so this is my 5th Sleep Token reaction and analysis video. And I have to say, like, very few lyricists possess the confidence to paint with imagery this luxuriant. And here, it's no different. Vessel invites us into a landscape that feels less like a love song and more like an act of reverence. For example, you are a garden entwined with all. Now, that evokes a figure who is not merely beautiful, but intrinsically woven into the fabric of existence itself, a living ecosystem of abundance, growth, and mystery. And when you think of it, gardens, after all, are places where life flourishes through careful cultivation, yet they remain delightfully untamable, forever changing with the seasons. It is an image of profound interconnectedness, I would say. And you know, that sentiment is immediately deepened by the very next lyric. You are the silence on sacred shores. So a line that exchanges visual splendor for stillness. There is something almost, and I use this word a lot with them, liturgical about it. The silence is not empty, but sanctified, a hush that commands awe rather than fear, as though the presence of the person transforms the ordinary into the transcendent. And then comes the song's, well, at least for now, one of the most striking paradoxes. You've got diamonds for teeth, my love. And diamonds are symbols of beauty, rarity, and permanence, yet fashioned into teeth, they become instruments capable of both dazzling and wounding. It's a magnificent juxtaposition if you think of it, and it's suggesting that what captivates us most can also leave the deepest marks upon us. So I think when Vessel pleads, "So take a bite out of me just once," it feels less like a surrender to pain and a conscious embrace of vulnerability. There is an acceptance that genuine intimacy demands risk, that to be truly known is to allow oneself to be irrevocably altered. And just to close out on this first verse or section, I want to turn the page once again. And that introduces the language of stories and renewal, hinting at a yearning to revisit, rewrite, or continue a chapter that remains unfinished despite its scars. It is a beautiful acknowledgement that love is seldom static, it is iterative, forever asking us to begin again, even when we already understand the cost. And as per usual, with Vessel and Sleep Token, the lyrics exemplify extraordinary gift for intertwining the natural, the sacred, and the deeply human into poetry that resists one single interpretation. And it's very rewarding. It's rewarding each return with fresh emotional and symbolic nuance. And for someone that writes songs, writes poetry, that's all you want. Okay, onward we go. Let's get it. So, by the way, yes, I will be going through all of Sundowning in order. Will take a while. Okay. Interesting. Huh. Just quickly. So it sounds to me that the person that he is romanticizing, he has also deified to some degree. Interesting. Interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, so the chorus. The song now, it just sort of feels as if it lays bare its emotional nucleus with remarkable candor. This is a giving and offering. So that immediately adopts the language of ritual, devotion, and sacred exchange. It's an offering, no pun intended, by its very nature, is not something relinquished under duress, but something surrendered willingly, imbued with intention and significance. So for me at least, it suggests that love in its purest and perhaps most perilous form is an act of voluntary self-detonation. And the reason why I think that is the very next lyric. In your favor, a sacrifice in your name. So where affection transcends mere romance and begins to resemble worship. So in my opinion, from listening and looking at the lyrics, the beloved in this case is elevated to an almost divine stature, worthy of reverence, while the speaker, in this case being Vessel, knowingly places parts of himself upon that metaphorical altar. And yet, what fascinates me most is that the lyrics never portray the sacrifice as entirely innocent or idyllic. But I know you've got a taste. So that line introduces a subtle shift in power, acknowledging an appetite within the other, stating that there's a longing that may never be fully satisfied. It carries the implication that love can become insatiable, that intimacy often awakens desires which continually ask for more of us than we could ever give. And then consequently, so just take a bite of me. So again, it becomes an extraordinary image of conscious vulnerability. Vessel is not oblivious to the potential consequences of this sacrifice. He recognizes the cost, yet chooses to invite it nonetheless. And there is something profoundly human in that decision, right? Because I think the deepest relationships often require us to surrender certainty, pride, and emotional preservation in exchange for authentic connection. And then carrying on from where we left off, turn the page once again. So that again reinforces the cyclical nature of this devotion. It is the acknowledgement that love is rarely resolved in a single chapter. Instead, it continually rewrites itself through repeated acts of trust, sacrifice, and renewal, each page carrying the possibility of both heartbreak and transcendence. And that duality is precisely what makes Vessel's lyricism so compelling. Because, again, this is me being 5 songs into their catalog. It inhabits the liminal space where romance, spirituality, and self-sacrifice become almost impossible to separate, leaving us to ponder and ask ourselves whether the offering is an expression of liberation, obsession, or perhaps beautifully a measure of both. Okay, I'm actually quite surprised there aren't many lyrics to this song. But as per usual with Sleep Token, whatever lyrics there are very deep. So let us continue. I love it when he sings in falsetto. My arms belong around you. I like the fact that he uses belong. That's telling. You want to know? Okay, that's a change. That changes the narrative. Oh, this song is a vibe. Rock scream? Yes? No? I'm hearing some vocal in the background. Oh, take a bite. Where are we in the song? And I need to know more about these runes. Someone did comment and say that no one really knows. Honestly, I'm just listening to the drumming. What the hell? The drummer's name is 2, right? He's freaking insane. Or she. Just dawned on me that I have no idea the gender of the rest of them. Oh, are we fading out? Songs don't usually fade out, so it's kind of cool that they do it. I'm going to let it play just in case, because you never know. Okay, well, Okay. Once again, absolutely brilliant from Sleep Token. This song, The Offering, the narrative was... Okay, let me think about it and then get back to you. Okay, so we finished the song. Unbelievable. And I think the song just sort of reached this passage, this grand symbolism momentarily gives way to something far more intimate, revealing the emotional heartbeat beneath the mythology. And the lyrics told that story. Given again, and let me lay my arms belong around you. Now, that is a wonderfully understated confession because it frames physical closeness not as possession, but as inevitability. The choice of the word that he uses, belong, is particularly telling to me. It implies that the embrace is vessel's most authentic state of being, as though every distance between them is an aberration yearning to be corrected. We'll go with that. And to further derive from that, it is an image of comfort and sanctuary, yet one tinged with desperation, because the phrase, give in again, that hints at this surrender that has happened before. We heard it earlier. Their relationship appears cyclical, forever oscillating between separation and reunion, resistance and acceptance. So a lot going on with very, very few lyrics. Then amidst the soaring vocalizations that we've been hearing, so take a bite, I want to know. That revisits the song's central metaphor that we were mentioning earlier, though it's more subtle in its evolution, because earlier the invitation to take a bite felt like an offering of self. Here, it's driven by curiosity as much as devotion. When he says, I want to know, that suggests that true intimacy demands experience rather than observation. There are aspects of another soul that cannot be understood from a respectful distance. They require visibility, mutual surrender, and the willingness to be changed by that encounter. And then we move on to the recurring plea, which is take a bite. That now ceases to represent mere sacrifice and instead becomes a yearning for complete communion, where, and I'm sure many of us could probably identify with this, where emotional, spiritual, and even physical boundaries dissolve into the shared understanding and the shared consciousness. It is the extraordinary layering of tenderness with unsettling imagery that makes Sleep Token's writing just so unbelievably captivating. For me, it reminds me that love is seldom neat or entirely comfortable. It is a force that asks us to surrender our defenses, to risk transformation, and to discover that the deepest forms of connection often leave their mark upon us long after the moment itself has passed. Well, folks, that's all from me. It's been an absolute pleasure, as per usual, to react to Sleep Token. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and do share this video everywhere you can. I would deeply appreciate it. And if you would like to support the channel more tangibly, you can do so via any of the links in the description below to my PayPal, Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, Super Thanks, or by becoming a YouTube channel member. All of it is greatly appreciated. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, do be kind, do be gentle, do be respectful to one another, and help each other up when you can. And I'll see you lot in the next video. Take care.